So welcome everyone to today's interesting section. Welcome everyone to today's interesting section. I believe everyone is happy to join us live in the course of today's section. I believe everyone is happy to join us live in the course of today's section. Please, if you're just joining us for the first time, you're welcome to today's interesting section. You can kindly just comment on the chat box to show you are online with us and ready to write on with what we're about to talk about so that we can go live together in the course of today's section. Please, I'm waiting for all you guys. You guys, welcome everyone as we go live in the course of today's session. Today we're looking at same as we do. Usually we're looking at the market updates. What is the market analysis? What do we actually have concerning the markets? And after that, we'll actually go ahead to look at a different topic that we were looking at the impact of cryptocurrency on businesses. Now, looking at businesses, looking at from the payment industry to the investment industry. Now, looking at the business himself. Now, how does business actually impact, how does cryptocurrency has actually has impact on businesses? Now looking at um, cryptocurrency as a kind of emerging mainstream. Now it will it actually impact the business's finance? In what way is it going to impact the business's financial aspect? In what way? So all these points are actually what we'll be looking at in the course of today's session. So welcome everyone. Welcome everyone in that. Welcome everyone. Please kindly join us, kindly follow us. Please welcome. Hi, welcome. Please, if you have any question in the course of today's section, you are free to ask on the chat box in which justice is going to be done as we move ahead in the course of today's session. So along the way, if you have any question whatsoever, if you need any clarification whatsoever, you are free to ask on the chat box. You are free to ask on the chat box as we move ahead in the course of today's section. So everyone is actually welcome to this important and interesting section. So one point we'll be looking at, like I said earlier, we'll be looking at the market analysis to get different updates on what the market is actually saying. How can we actually take control of the market when look what are the basic information that we need to know when looking at the market? So what is currently trending? How can we actually take advantage of the market currently and other? So all these points are what we'll be looking at in the course of today's section as we move ahead. Please, if you are ready to join us live, please can you just comment on the chat box to show that you are ready to join us live as we move ahead in the course of today's section. So, welcome, everyone. Oh, welcome. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone, to today's interesting section. So, now, one point, let's go ahead to what we actually have for today. So, looking at the market, and so because you can see yesterday, we actually noticed a kind of a green move in the market, in the Bitcoin market yesterday, in which it moved from this area, it came up here to this area here which is around 26. It came up here, which is around 26,000, at around 26,400 at 400 and 26,400 and 437. That is where the market got to as at this morning. Yeah, that is where the market is currently as at this morning. Well, it's actually a good sign, but it will still actually has to actually drop to this around this area here. I'm still expecting this market to actually still come down to this area. So there are actually different factors that actually predict that actually cause this movement of the market and other. Now looking at the news surrounding the market, or what is the news, how can we what are the factors, what are the news surrounding the market that actually cause all this movement of the market that we're actually noticing. It is very important that we consider, that we take note of some basic factors when looking at the news, when looking at what is actually trending, how can we actually go about the market, what are the basic points we need to take note of when looking at the market. It's very, very important that we understand all those factors. All these factors here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market himself. What is the market currently saying? How can we actually take advantage of? Okay, I want to analyze this and its analysis on it, checking it on 1% out of 100%. Let me just say that uptrend move, which is actually a good sign. I've actually analyzed and I believe that invest in currently. Now let's do some basic analysis on how I actually got my findings, because now you have to understand the analysis of the market, what the market is saying, and all those factors are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when all those factors, as we said, that the market now, yeah, it's just like Ethereum is the original version of ETH Terra, but it's just similar to the Ethereum market and other. So now looking at the market from this area here, let's look at from let's I believe you guys are following me. Now looking at this market from this area here, you can see the movements here. Let's draw this line out. Let's bring this line out because it is actually very, very important. Now you can see this movement, you can see this line here. It came down here, it's here, it came here again. You can see this moved. Now the next move that we noticed here after this move in the market was this push. Was just push that we had in the market. And other, let me bring out the sign out. Let me bring out the sudden move to this area here around January, which actually gave a good sign in the market. Now, just imagine this, and up to now, it's yet to still break this positioning. Now, if I draw my line from this area here that it got to, look, if I draw my trend line from this area here, let's bring it, let's show it. We've seen it that okay, this is actually now looking at this year from this year tab. This is actually the all-time high from this year, beginning of this year. Looking at the market because it has actually superseded. Now looking at the market further, what actually happened in the market, you can see that's actually further. It has gotten to a very large amount. But looking at the market on this view, looking at the market on the kind of from the beginning of this year, you know, okay, this is the all-time high. This is actually the all-time high of this market. That is one point. That is one area that I actually want you guys to take note of. Now you can see this movement of the market. What is actually happening here? How it is actually happening in the market currently? All those areas here that we are noticing in the market. Now you can see from this area here again. Let's continue from this point here again. It came down. You can see it came down here again. So we have a lower low. Now the area here, it came up here and other in the markets. Now it came up. You can see some display has actually happened in the market over time and other. So it came up here in the market. What is the sign? What do we notice here? You can see this move. You can see this move in the market. Now I will still show you this move again that I will see in the market. Coming here, coming to this area, this set area in the market again. Coming here. Now the market came from this area here, it came up. Now from this area here, you can see it came down here to this market. It came down here in the market. You can see this move again. You can see this move that this second move that is actually being created in the market. Now it has to come to this area here, and we saw it has to come to this area here. So from this down to this area here, to this area, from this area here, you can say now you are actually predicted that okay, the market is actually going to move up to this area here in the market. So all important for us to understand how the market is moving, how we can actually take control of the market. All those points here are actually very, very important when looking at the market, when trying to go into the market, how to actually take control of the market. All those points here are actually very, very important as something that we need to actually focus on when looking at the market. So now looking at this area here, looking at what we've actually done here, how do you now actually, because we are not yet done looking at the market now, why do we say that okay, subsequently all this has actually this is not the first time that we're actually seeing something like this coming on board in the market? Why are we saying that okay, this is not the first time that we're actually seeing the market coming to this area here in the market? Now looking at this move here, you can see what the market did here. If I'll change this, let me change this to some let me change it to another color. Blue is kind of somehow. I'll change it to something more. Okay, let me put it in white. Now looking at this in white, looking at this move again, let me bring this again. So now looking at the market from this area here, you can see the market from this, you can see what is actually happening in the market from this area, how the market is moving, and all this actually basic information formation. You can see this move in the market. Now, this push that we actually need. Now, again, you will notice this line that came down here in the market. Another. Now, if I will bring, remember, I will actually bring my line here. Let me point here. Bring it out. Now, if I bring this from this area here, let me push this up. From this area here that way, I'm noticing it here. Now, looking at the market from this area here, looking at the market coming up, you can see it broke this. You can see this line here. You can see the tap here again in the market. You can see it. You can see what is actually happening here to this area here that we're actually noticing in the market. I believe you guys are actually seeing what I'm actually giving out to you guys in the course of today's session. Now you can see this market. You can see the movement of the market. So you can actually tell me how do you actually predict the market? What do you notice that is actually currently going on in the market currently? What do you actually see that is currently going on in the market? It is very because it is actually very important that we take note of actually very area here. You can see what the actual what you can see what was actually happening all through this area here in the market. So though this tap here that we notice here, you can see there was actually a tap here. You can see now. Let me bring it out. That is what I'm talking about. You can see this area here. You can see what actually happened here. You can see a good sign that with the market, all these points here are actually very important that we need to hear what is actually happening in the market and also what is the next movement. What is now the next move of the market when what is now actually currently going on the market. It came to this what I'm currently expecting from this market is what we're actually likely going to see. Now we've seen a low, so like this, then the market is actually going to push up. We are actually I'm looking at the market coming up to around 19, thereabouts, around this area in the market, thereabouts in the market. So this is how I'm actually looking at predicting this market on what is actually going to happen in this market. This is how I actually predict what is actually we're actually going to see a push in the market subsequently as we move ahead. So now what do we mean by this? So from this area here, if you're looking at going to the market, looking at this tap here, from this area here, the first should be around this area here, which is around 17. The first takeout should be around this area here. The first the first profit the first profit should be around this area. If you're looking at going into this market, your first profit should actually be around this area here. If you're looking to go into the market, your first profit will be around this area, while your second profit, looking at this line here, should be around this area here. This area we're actually noticing this. Yeah, this tap here is actually going to become to this tap here, this movement here and others. So it is very now looking at this movement, looking at this area here again, looking at how this market actually moved up to this area. So I'm likely going to say that for the another profit again coming up to this area here in the market. So all these are actually still coming down to this area here again. Now looking at the market again, another profit again into this area again in the market. Looking at the market again, looking at this the market, what is no so into this area here in the market. So this is how I'm actually looking at the market actually coming on board. This is how I feel the market is actually going to play out subsequently. So this actually a take profit zone when looking at. So all these are actually very important point that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, when looking at what is actually happening in the market. How can we actually take control of the market is very important that we understand all these points. All those points here are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is actually happening in the market? How can we actually take control of the market when looking at it on the larger thing? And what is very important that we understand all these factors here are actually very important. All these factors here are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement what is actually happening in the market. How can we actually take control of the market? It's very, very important that we understand all these factors. I believe you guys are actually getting what I'm actually dishing out to you guys in the course of today's session. Please, please, if you have any question whatsoever, you can do it by asking on the chat box, in which justice is going to be done as we keep moving ahead in the course of today's session. Please and please, if you have any question whatsoever on this analysis in which I'm actually giving out, if you any confirmation of price. So this is out. So looking at the markets and looking at, you can actually tell me what do you actually, how do you actually see the markets moving? What is your prediction price of the market? And you can actually type it on the chat box. Let's get your own view on the market price action. So all these points here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. How what is the next action price of the market? How can we actually take control of the market when looking at it? Is very, very important in the market. How can we actually take control of the market? And on all these points here, action movements are actually basic information that we need to get. I'm looking at this area as a take profit zone. I'm looking at this area here in the market as a take profit zone in the market and others, which is important that way. So this area here, I'm actually looking at this area as a take profit zone. So let me just type, can I type here? Take profit, let me just say, first take profit. So if you're actually looking at going into this project, so this is actually this area here is actually your first take profit when looking at the market, and which is actually a good sign when looking at the market. So this area, just point here, is actually your first take profit when looking at this, and this one here, this area here also second take profit, take control, the first take profit, the second take profit of the market, and all these points here are actually basic information that we need to take that we need to understand. We're looking at the market movement. What is the market currently saying? How can we actually take control of the market when looking at it on the real estate market? Now, this ETC market is just now I've been looking at I've actually looking at this market in a 1 hour time frame, in a 2 hours time frame, in a kind of a 4 hours. If I bring it here to a kind of a 4 hour time frame. Let's see it. Oh, okay, it came on board. Let's see it in a 4 hour time frame. And other, let's see it in a 4 hour time frame. Now you can see now in a 4 hour time frame, it's still having the same pattern it gave us in a 1 hour. So you can see the similar pattern because if it's other chart, it's just out of few this that does not obey the movement of the market. So but looking at this market in a 4 hours time frame, it still had the same movement of the market. Now, if I change it also to a 1 hour time frame, let me change also to the 1 hour time frame. Now looking at the market in an hour, let me bring it close again. 1 hour time frame. This is actually in a 1 hour time frame movement. Now you can see the market. The market is still showing, you can showing the same action price, the same movement of the same action movement of the market, another, which is actually a one sign that which is actually a very important sign that we need to take. All these points here are actually are actually important point that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is actually happening in the market? How can we actually take control of the market? All those points here are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is actually happening in the market? How do we need to take control? What are the basic information that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement? And that is very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is currently going the real sense? And so all this another is very important movement when looking at the market movement. When looking at what is actually happening in the market, how can we actually take control of the market when looking at it on the real sense? And I believe you guys are actually following me and getting what I'm actually dishing out to you guys in the course of today's session. Please and please, if you have any question whatsoever, you are free. Very important that we understand all these factors. All these factors here are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is currently going? So if you're looking for a kind of a project to actually go into or to enter currently, this is actually one project I will actually advise you on. So you can currently enter into this market. Right now is the right positioning for you to actually enter this market. And now ensure you set your stop loss when going into himself. So let's go ahead. Let's go into our next conversation. Let's go into our next conversation, which is actually going to be the impact. What do we understand by what is now the impact of what is the impact of cryptocurrency in businesses? That is the next point that we will want to be talking about in today's session. What is the impact of cryptocurrency on our business and other? That is the next point that we will be talking about in today's conversation. The impact of crypto. What is the impact of cryptocurrency on businesses and other? I believe you guys are ready. I believe you guys are ready to go live with us in the course of today. So, what is now the impact? Now, looking at cryptocurrency, impact of this cryptocurrency that we're actually what is the impact of this cryptocurrency that we're actually talking about on a larger term, and other? What is now the impact of this cryptocurrency on a larger term? Where do we actually see what do we understand by the cryptocurrency market? What are the what are the various factors we need to consider when looking at the market itself and all that? So all these points are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market. And so when looking at what is currently going in the market, how can we actually go about it, and all that is very, very important. It's very, very important that we understand all these factors when looking at the market movement, what is actually happening in the market, what are the various factors, movements that we need to take note of when looking at the market, and all those areas here are actually very, very important that we need to understand when looking at the market movement, what is currently going in the market, how can we actually all these points are actually very, very important that we need to take. So now looking at it, now let's go ahead. We're talking the next point we're talking about right now is the impact. What is now the impact of cryptocurrency on businesses? When looking at businesses, when looking at when financial system, from the investments to the business platform, how to actually go about it. What are the section? So that is actually the next point that we're actually going to be talking about in this next section as we keep moving ahead in the course of today's session. So now as we move ahead now, as the cryptocurrency merge mainstream will actually impact businesses in many ways, and we have different ways in which businesses is actually being impacted when looking at it. Now we're actually going to be we're actually going to look at different terms in today's conversation. The first one we're looking at the impact of decentralized finance, that is DeFi, in cryptocurrency or in businesses and all that. And also, we'll be looking at cryptocurrency as a means of payment system for businesses. Remember, one of the goal of the blockchain ecosystem. Now, it serves as a data storage system, and also it brought about any it brought about payment system decentralization when it comes to payment, and that's why Bitcoin came on board, followed by Ethereum, other cryptocurrency came about. All this actually serve as a means of payment system when looking at the ecosystem and all that. That is one point that we need to actually take note of when looking at the ecosystem, and that is very, very important that we take note of all these points when looking at the ecosystem. What are they really all about and all that? Now, the next point also that is actually very, very important that we need to take note. Now, we're also going to be looking at the risks and the challenges of what are also the risks, because we can't actually say that okay, this market is going this way, this app is always going to be. No, there's actually risks surrounding in the market. So what are now the risks in the market? What are the challenges when looking at the risks in the market, when looking at challenges of cryptocurrency for businesses themselves? Because now all this has to do with businesses, all this has to do with the movement of funds, and which is one important factor that we need to understand, that we need to take note of when looking at the market space. What do we need to focus on when looking at the market space? And it is very, very important that we understand all those factors. So now, as cryptocurrency merge mainstream, it will impact business finance in many ways. It's actually going to impact business finance in so many ways. Now, for the last few years, the US crypto POV has been that the individuals investing in cryptocurrency as an interesting new asset class. In developing markets such as America, India, people have been using cryptocurrency for more than it is intended to be used. Now, an alternative traditional banking system with peer-to-peer transparent way of buying and selling product and services. Now, looking at the ecosystem, looking at where the ecosystem is going, or looking at business, looking at the likes of Africa, because Africa is serves as one of the leading countries when it has to do with cryptocurrency. Looking at India, for example, Indian people are actually looking at, most of them are actually one out of two Indian people actually are making use of cryptocurrency, and so now they have actually gone far when it has to do with this cryptocurrency, using it as an alternative. They actually look at cryptocurrency as an alternative means of payment system. Not looking at the traditional means of payment system. Now they are looking at it as a kind of a peer-to-peer, as a kind of a transparent way of actually buying and selling products and services, which for them it's more reliable for them. They are more confident in actually making use of that ecosystem to make payments and all, which is one important factor that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem. And so for some past few years now, now apart from that, what do we in the business world, adopting crypto has been actually a slower process. Now, looking at the business world himself, now adopting this cryptocurrency or crypto himself has been a slower process. Now, some countries like Salvador are pushing business into crypto from from the kind of a from a top down. In a complex economy, business crypto adoption is moving slowly, reflecting regulatory and also mainstream and friction when looking at. So there's a lot of factors that's actually currently being considered when looking at regulations, when looking at the framework surrounding this surrounding the ecosystem, and which is one important factor that we need to consider, we need to take note of when looking at the market space, when looking at what is actually going on in the market space and other. So as crypto slowly moves towards a regulatory safe zone, businesses are seeing more demand from some customers to accept cryptocurrency for purchasing. Now, in investing markets, as crypto matures, companies will consider cryptocurrency a potential source of business and investing on funding. So that is so as the companies, as we keep going forward, as we keep getting more ideas, more cryptocurrency coming into the market, more innovations and that, we will get more people, different people, more ideas actually coming on board to actually invest into the crypto market, to see the good in the crypto market, how they can actually invest into the market, how they can actually go into the market when it has to do with the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and all these points are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the cryptocurrency. So company will consider cryptocurrency a potential source of business to investing and funding when looking at the ecosystem, which is one important factor that we need to consider when looking at the ecosystem. So the term business is a vast category. Now, another each sector and entitled more decided when and how crypto fits in into the strategy and all that. So these are now we're actually be looking at the implication of crypto adoption in businesses in general. So the first one we're talking about, let's look at the first one, the impact of decentralized finance in business. So what is now the impact of decentralized finance in business? Now, the first point we're looking at the impact of decentralized finance in business, the theory of DeFi, anonymous transaction between parties that may cross border and also a or independent government or institution oversight. And in reality, those theoretical pillars will need to adapt and compromise in the align of with doing business in the real world, including powerful entrenched institutions, sovereignty nation, and also threats to bad actors and rough governance. Now, DeFi exclusive nature breaks down barrier of entry. Now, making finance services accessible to broader demography, including under-reserved population, and also this accessibility greater financial inclusion, empower businesses to reach previously tapped markets when looking at it on all that, which is one important factor that we need to consider when looking at the market. So in the kind of a franchise market space, if token-based franchise regulation involve involve beyond existing SEC accreditation investors restriction. Now, it could actually open more market, more ICO potential gain, and also new avenue of demonstrating investing, and also of the allowing businesses of all sizes to attract global impact of investors when looking at the market space, and which is one important part. And also looking at the ICO, looking at ICO, so it actually opens ICO potential gain and also new avenue to demonstrate or democrate investment, allowing businesses of all sizes to attract global pool of investors, so different investors coming from different areas to actually come into the ecosystem to actually invest and other, which is one important fight that we need to talk that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem. So as DeFi continues to evolve and mature, its ability to reshape financial landscape and drive innovative business model remain a compelling prospect in the ecosystem as we keep moving ahead for as for moving forward. Thinking enterprise seeking to optimize their operational to a decentralized world and others. So looking at entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship businesses and looking at kind of optimizing their operation into decentralized world, trying to make everything decentralized, easy to use, affordable, and also accessible to all customers when making use of it. But there've actually been some drawbacks looking at regulation factors, looking at we have regulation factors, we have a lot of factors that is currently affecting the ecosystem and all that, which is one important factor that we need to consider, that we need to take note of when looking at cryptocurrency or when looking at the ecosystem. What are they building? What are they really all about? And that it is very, very important that we understand all these factors when looking at the ecosystem. What are the ecosystem really all about? How can we actually go about them? What are the basic information that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem and others. So now the next point also that we'll be looking at right now, the next point that's actually very, very important that we'll be looking at currently is cryptocurrency as a payment method for businesses. Now looking at cryptocurrency itself, looking at what cryptocurrency in himself, what cryptocurrency is actually really all about. So how can we actually go about cryptocurrency as a means of payment? How can we actually say cryptocurrency is actually a means of payment system for businesses as a payment method so for businesses? Now crypto payment app are betting big on the point of a wide adoption for decades. And industry, looking at the industry, looking at the ecosystem and all that, you can see a lot of people are actually looking at the market, a lot of people are actually investing into the market, trying to go into the market, and which is actually a good sign when looking at the ecosystem. What are they building? What are the various factors that we need to consider when looking at businesses and all that? So looking at crypto payment app are betting big on wider on a kind of a wide adoption for decade. Now, industry watch forecast in the crypto market payment gateway between 2020 to 2020 to around 2030. You can see the USD. This is actually the US cryptocurrency payment app. This is actually the US cryptocurrency payment app. You can see what is currently going on here. So you can see the movement. You can see from 2020, you can see the price action from 2020. It's moved to around 2021. You can see the price on price, or you can say 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. You can see now the prediction price of cryptocurrency and others when looking at the market cap and when looking at the market movement and other, which is one important sign that we need to take note of when looking at cryptocurrency. And so cryptocurrency offers several advantages as a business method of payment. Firstly, a crypto is like increasing the margin of the economic factor, and accepting crypto open doors for broader customers base, tap into kind of a kind of significant market growth when looking at it. The second one is transaction enabled by blockchain technology, kind of transaction enabled by blockchain technology and all that maintain or kind of minimize the risk of fraud and also chargeback and other. Crypto transaction can enhance cost efficiency and profitability by reducing or eliminating third parties fees like like credit card processing, currency conversation, or bank transaction fees, and that which is one important point that we need to take note of when looking at cryptocurrency. What are cryptocurrency really about? What are they building? How can we actually go about it? And that all these factors are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the eco. So business from tech service startup to established enterprise and all that. Now I've already kind of embedded cryptocurrency payment. For instance, companies like Overstock and Shopify have integrated cryptocurrency options, expanding their global reach and attracting customers who prefer cryptocurrency in the ecosystem, and which is one important factor that we must consider when looking at cryptocurrency. What are cryptocurrency? How can we actually go about? So for small businesses going into the ecosystem and other, it is for big the ease of using the payment gateway such as PayPal, Visa will drive smaller business adoption when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what the business is actually really all about. And so on the back end, blockchain ledger solution for smaller business could evangelize smaller business finance. For example, for small and medium businesses, tracking verifying transaction, keeping record, and also filing tax, representing, and also headache and also expenses are actually something that we must consider when looking at the ecosystem and what they're actually doing and all that. So blockchain-based crypto-driven solution can increase efficiency and low cost. That is so blockchain-based solution can actually increase efficiency and also create a kind of a low cost when looking at the ecosystem. And so government can benefit from more frequent automated risks and automated business tax deposit as well when looking at the ecosystem, looking at what they're actually doing, what are they really all about, how can you actually go about the ecosystem, and like, it's very, very important that we take note of all these factors when looking at the ecosystem, and on all these points are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at eco. So the next point to be looking at is the risks and challenges for cryptocurrency. The risks and challenges for cryptocurrency for business. What are the risks? Because we can't say that okay, those all this actually we have a lot of risks looking at the regulations, factors. Regulation is actually one of the key. Looking at sustainability, people accepting this as a means of payment system and taking away from going away from the traditional means of payment system, and all these are actually factors that we must consider when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what the blockchain it's actually really all about. How can we actually go about it, and all these factors are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at how the ecosystem is being operated, what we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem, and all these factors here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem and all that. So the first one we're actually talking about, the first one we're actually I'm talking about in the course of the first one we're actually I'm talking about in the course of this today's section is like now, like investors, individuals investors, businesses must weight their crypto activities and potential upside versus their capability to adopt losses and all that. Now, even though blockchain is secured, is more in most cases, it's not kind of a kind of a kind of a full print or kind of a full proof of how the ecosystem works and all that. Now, we have also seen the risks associated with decentralized exchange and hackable wallet technology. Given these risks, risk management strategy and also thorough and also through thorough kind of due to intelligence or emerging benefit because of and also looking at the market and looking at how the market before businesses integrate cryptocurrency in their ecosystem, which is one important factor that we need to consider, we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what the blockchain is actually really all about, what are they building, how can we actually go into it, what are the various factors that we must consider when looking at the ecosystem and others. That is one point that we need to take note of when looking at the blockchain itself, or the risks and challenges. So the first one that we have here now, looking at the market. So we have also seen we have seen the security risks associated with with centralized exchange and hackable wallet technologies. These are giving risks and all that. And we can see some decentralized exchange, centralized exchange over the years, 2 years ago, that actually got hacked and all that. I don't want to list some ones. We all know them. They actually had one issue on the other because they're actually hackable and all that. If not properly done, if you don't set, if there is not being transparent enough, if there's not enough security in the ecosystem. So this actually gives this risk management strategy and thorough due diligence are very essential before businesses integrate cryptocurrency. So all these factors actually what actually more brought the idea that businesses have to be very, very careful before they consider cryptocurrency, before they actually have a kind of a thorough guidance into how the cryptocurrency ecosystem, how does it works and all that. So the first one that we have here is franchising with cryptocurrency. Now, two methods are involving in business franchise. Now we have the initial coin offering and also security token offering. Those are the two factors that we need to consider: the initial coin offering, and also we have the security token offering. Now, when talking about initial coin offering, what do we mean by initial coin offering? Now, initial coin offering is known as ICO. And ICO is a franchise method used by cryptocurrency startups to secure capital by using new digital token and coin to investors and others. In ICO, businesses raises funds by marketing their project potential, often through a white paper outlining the concept and technologies. Investors purchase this token using established cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all that in the cryptocurrency markets. Now, as of date, ICO is still unregulated. Since 2015, ICO scam net around $16 billion with back early in 2018. Now, onto the ICO bubble burst, legitimate business who wants to raise money via ICO should consult with legal counsel to ensure that they do not violate the SEC regulation when investing in any project whatsoever that project might be under, which is also another important factor that we must consider when talking about the ecosystem and others. And looking at the market, that is for ICO, looking at the security token offering, that is STO. Now, the security token offering involve issuing security token representing ownership of real-world assets, now such as stock, bond, real estate, or even art. Now, businesses raise funds through ICOs by conducting a thorough legal and also financial review, issuing security token backing by tangible assets, and offering this token to credit investors through a registered platform or exchange when looking at it on the website. And so, unlike initial coin offering, which often utilize token grant assets to a specific platform or and that is security token offering are subjected to regulatory oversight and compiling the ecosystem with security and law and order. In the US, security token must be registered with the SEC industry and others. So the compliance, now we have also have the compliance with the STO. STO are more secure and legally transparent option for both businesses and investors, compelling trying to invest into the ecosystem, unregistered environment of the ecosystem, or ICO and others. Now, in the sense, STO provide a bridge between it actually provide a bridge between traditional finance system and also innovative potential in of the blockchain technology. So all these points are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem. What are they really all about? How can we actually go about them? And we have different points here that we are talking about. We have different points. Now, this next one again is actually businesses investing in cryptocurrency. We have different businesses actually looking at investing in cryptocurrency, different businesses actually looking at integrating their ecosystem, trying to invest into the ecosystem and go into it when looking at businesses and all these actually basic point that we need to take note of. We're looking at the ecosystem, we're looking at what the blockchain is actually doing, how can we actually go about, what are the various factors that we must consider when looking at the ecosystem, and it's very, very important that we take note of all these points. All these points here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem. What are they doing? How can we actually go about, what are the basic information that we need to actually that we need to actually take note of when looking at the ecosystem, and that is very, very important that we understand all those factors are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem. What are they really all about? How can we actually go about them? And that is very, very important that we understand all those factors when looking at the ecosystem. I believe you guys are actually gaining a lot from what I'm actually sharing with you guys in the course of today's session. Well, subsequently we'll come out to actually, we are not yet done, but we'll actually be stopping here in the course of today's section. We'll actually come back to actually talk more on this session in our subsequent classes. So thank you so much. Thanks to everyone that has actually connected live with us in the course of today's section. I believe you guys have actually gained a lot from what we've actually shared with you guys in the market analysis, trying to get analysis about what the market is saying and how to actually go about the cryptocurrency market. And so that's all what we'll be talking about in today's section. I believe you guys have gained a lot from what I've actually shared with you guys. We'll be live again tomorrow for another interesting conversation where we'll come together and learn get more impact about the cryptocurrency market, what we need to know, how we need to go about it, and all that. So that's all we're talking about for today. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for connecting live with us. I believe you guys have gained a lot from what we've actually shared with you guys. See you same time tomorrow for another interesting conversation where we'll come together and gain more impact about the cryptocurrency market. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for connecting live. Please and please, if you have any question whatsoever, you are free to act on the chat box in which justice is going to be done to your question. If you have any question whatsoever, let me check. Do we have any question? Do we have any question? Do you have any question? Okay, so we don't have any question in today's. We don't have any question. So you guys have actually, I believe you guys have actually gained a lot from what you've actually shared with you guys in the course of today's section. We'll live again tomorrow for another interesting conversation. We'll come together and learn more, get more impact about the cryptocurrency market and all that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you same time tomorrow for another interesting section. Bye, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. Stay blessed, guys.